Lucky Lefty Podcast. The Onora boys are in the building, brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure you do it
responsibly.
You got to do it responsibly. Also, your boys, College Football Nation, CFE Nation, presented by Twisted Tea. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, see, my throat is getting stronger, bro. My voice is coming back.
Stronger by the day.
Yes,
that's
sir.
Right. Like nothing ever happened.
Yes, sir. Let me tell you something, man. It's a lot to get to left. Now, I did a 5-hour show yesterday, left. So I'm gonna let you off the leash. You know what I'm saying?
Please do.
I'm gonna let you off the leash. Don't forget audio edibles each and every day. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You know, it's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know. We spin it different. You know what I'm saying? Today you're not getting any narratives, man. Let me tell you something. When we tell you stuff that's going on, when I come back from my medical issue and tell you that dysfunction exists
in high places,
and you start to see it on the field, and I tell you, you're seeing it on the field because there's dysfunction in the building.
That's right.
And everybody else wants to say, well, that's, they spit narratives over there. Okay. All right. It's so many things that we say that other people say is narratives, and then when it comes out in the wash, bro, it's like, okay.
I told you so. And it's funny because you can start looking at what's happening on the field and can tell what in the background is taking place by looking at the game. You get a Chansi Stuckey fired at a random, and a lot of people wouldn't. It would go over their head. They would be like, "Why? What happened?" But there's no way in the world. Just from looking at the games, we ain't talking about nothing else. The games, that there was something going on.
Let me pause you right there, because right now we got to set it up right, dude. Let's talk about what's smoking. What's Smoking, brought to you by Fashion Geek. Go to AlonzoJackson.com. Right here, we run the city. That's why I got on the shy hat today.
That's right. That's right.
Wide receiver coach Chansi Stuckey parted ways with Notre Dame on yesterday and today. Tobias Merriweather joined Chris Tyree as the second wide receiver from that room to lead the transfer portal. And before I unleash MALIK, I just would like to say, everybody in the chat before we start the show, y'all need to stop that talk about wide receivers leaving because of the offense and Marcus Freeman needing to change his thought process. Wide receivers left because of this situation.
That's right.
Be frank. We don't do that narrative stuff here. All that other narrative stuff other people saying, no. The stuff that I got permission to release, I'm releasing it today.
That's right.
Everybody else might be scared. The
That's
stuff
right.
I got permission to release, we're going to release right here on the Lucky Lefty Podcast.
We telling the truth.
Because there's some clowny stuff that we tried to be nice and label it dysfunction all season.
That's right.
But today is the day.
Of reckoning.
Yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that bull crap, people talking about Marcus Freeman losing people because of the offensive philosophy, man, stop. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Now we can get to some truth.
That's right.
Here's left.
We're the true bears. The bears of truth.
Go ahead, Left. It's your show, man. I did 5 hours yesterday, bro.
And you know what stands out the most is that we have been talking about this without the information, without the necessarily 100% truth about what we were looking like on offense. And we came to a realization a few weeks ago that this isn't a blame game. This deals with dysfunction because we could easily point fingers. Oh, it's the receivers. Oh, it's the release package. Oh, it's this and that. Oh, it's Coach Freeman. Oh, it's the offensive coordinator. But when dysfunction exists, everybody is to blame. And you got to get down to what's the cause of the dysfunction. Well, you got to go, what's the cause of the offensive problems? What has been the biggest mystery in our history at receivers? Why are we not being productive? Why do we not have leadership? Why do we not have the natural order of how things are supposed to go and take place in a receiver room? How do you get a transfer quarterback who's thrown for 12,000 yards over the course of the career, one of the winning the played in 50 plus games, 50 plus, has all the accolades, is up there with Case Keenum and all the great touchdown throwers of college football history, and we still don't get somebody that's better than Charlie Jones? We still don't get the production from Charlie Jones out of that receiver room with a guy that's capable of getting them the football? Something's got to be going on. I knew something was going on when I saw Jordan Faison making plays in the Louisville game, with the game on the line, with the game on the money. Like, how is it possible? And I'm at fault in some ways because I'm like, there's no way in the world. If I'm a scholarship guy, a guy that's been phone called and recruited and numbers everywhere, that somehow I got this lacrosse player jumping me. And yeah, we ain't saying, no discredit to Jordan, but it's the discredit to what's going on in that room. There's no way in the world that walk-on is the number one guy. The walk-on is the go-to. The walk-on is the X factor. When we got freshmen that make impact, when we got seniors that have a lot to prove, when we got guys on the team that have a lot to give for that side of football, especially in the passing game. Chris Tyree being the dynamic X factor he is coming into the fold. And we didn't see a couple things. We didn't see a progression. There's one thing to say development, but there's another thing to say a progression. A progression of a Tobias Merriweather, a progression of a JT's career, an appearance of Deion Cosley, Chris Tyree being the change we needed in the slot, a freshman or two to make an impact. Tobias being the Tobias we've been begging for a long time. There was always a question, and the thing that stood out the most to me was, what's the fix that Marcus Freeman is not making? But what happens in football? Football is very much relationship, very much so, starting from recruiting. You only going to the place that you recruited to and has the best relationship with. That's just the facts. You're not going nowhere where you're not shown the love, because a lot of times guys are going to where they like the coaches. They ain't got nothing to do with no touchdown Jesus, no academic 4 for 40, no, none of that. It's, I like that coach, he can take me to the next level. That's where the start of dysfunction comes for me, because anytime you don't get a player on the same page or a player not developing, you got to go to the relationships around it. We seen it from Bill Djokovic. I don't know if that Djokovic, 5-star talent, but got relationship problems. It ain't necessarily his game. Obviously, his health ain't helping, but he left because of the relationship, and still bitter about it 3-4 schools later. So the relationship matters when it comes to a position coach and your players. And to see the things that have transpired in less than 24, I mean, we just got back from Stanford. Guys still got jet lag. Can't wait to tell Marcus Freeman, I ain't even waiting for the bowl game, Marcus Freeman. I'm out of here. That speaks volumes. One, it speaks volumes to Marcus Freeman. He can't escape it. And two, it speaks volumes to what's happening. What's going on at this point in time? Because clearly, guys had, before any of this ever took place,
Guys had their minds made up because ain't no way in the world you come off a victory like that, looking for a good bowl game coming up in the near future, and guys are leaving the program. And I get it, NIL and all that, but this ain't no NIL issue. This is a call for help. This is a plea for a career jump. I need to sustain my career with this move, not because I want some more money, not because of anything else. It's the faith in the program as well. Because not only did we see guys leave, we saw coaches get fired. So you would think that, oh, okay, that would help. But it's bigger than that. It's the faith in that position room. The faith that can something be done to even fix what's taking place. That's the question. That's why I charge Marcus Freeman, is that even the guys, you think you solved the problem, it ain't solved because guys feel a certain way that there is no better side to things. And this is where the question I have to ask. If the house is burning, are you staying in it? Or are you getting out? And it's hard to believe that a guy on staff that doesn't have great relationship with the room, the head coach don't know that. Or the head coach isn't making some in-season adjustments. Because we like to talk about in-game adjustments a lot. Oh, the second half is where we play. But where's the second half adjustment in the program? Because that's always evolving. And missing those second half adjustments, what happens all the time? You miss them second half adjustments, you get beat. And we getting beat in the second half of the season. Getting beat. We made no adjustments. And when we did, it was too late. And this is just an example of it. Don't save face by doing it now. You should know this earlier. You should have been seeing this. Because guess what? You've been seeing that you needed a new quarterback before the season was over. That was your second half adjustment last year. Your second half adjustment was, look, I have to tell the guys that are starting the too deep on my roster that y'all not going to be here. He didn't wait. He didn't wait for that. It was a decision made. So when it comes to interpersonal staff situations, there's no way you can tell me that there wasn't a conversation had between the head coach and that room at some point in the season. Because if it wasn't, that's a shame on Marcus Freeman. Because when a talent like Tobias walks out the door with under 1,000 yards in his career at Notre Dame, that's a disservice. That's a disservice. We failed you, Tobias. We failed you, Lorenzo. We failed you, Chris Tyree. Not being able to fit yourself in a situation that everybody is saying is going to be better. What's the problem? So you start thinking about, why is it all happening at one time? It has to be something deeper than a not getting playing time, not getting the football. Those are fixable, coachable things, and you can only fix it and coach it through a relationship. Because you trust. There's no trust. And that was what we were talking about last year. Nobody trusts the receivers anymore. Tobias doing everything. He catching the football, making all the guys miss. Tall, fast, unguardable. What Jupon say? He said he always open. 7-11. But for some reason, you hear this trust thing thrown around. Oh, we just don't trust him. And we talked about it. Is that guys not trusting getting recruited? You're not trusting the guys you're recruiting? Or is it really for show? Are we really just recruiters? Because when it come down to coaching, it don't look like we doing that. So the good thing about football is that the cream always rises to the top. And no matter how much you try to fake it, football will always expose some part of the weakness that you just can't get over sometimes. And this weakness that we had, everybody's known about it, but nobody knows why it's happening. And we used to think it was Dale Alexander saying there wasn't no talent. We used to think that it was the recruitment. We used to think that it was the kids. It's a combination of a few things. But when you bring in kids to a university like this, it's about development, something we haven't done. It's about progression. It's about having a plan for kids. I don't think there was a plan for any of the receivers this year. Truthfully, I don't think the offense was game planned around any receiver this year. Truthfully, I don't think the passing offense had an identity at all this year from the receiver standpoint. Because where? Who are we featuring? The freshmen got on late. So it wasn't even like we was thinking of them in season, in the beginning. Where did it go wrong? Well, I'll tell you what. A lot of things go wrong when a lot of disingenuous conversations are happening. People lying in the building. And when you can't trust the person that you're talking to coach you and guide your career, there's not much you can say. If you're in a relationship, your girl don't trust you, it's nothing, it ain't a relationship. So to see the writing on the wall with Lorenzo Styles and his disgruntled exit and the narrative around it, you gotta peel the layers back, because it only is getting deeper to the root meaning, the root cause. And we as Notre Dame fans never address the total perspective of the situation, because Lorenzo Styles is a great kid. A great kid. So how does a guy like that turn his back on a program that he has so much faith in? I mean, he was starting. How does a starter lead?
Without the degree.
Hey, you leave without the degree, that's the number one qualifier.
Without the degree.
Guys that left before the degree, you remember. A Styles, a Gunner Kiel. Guys that dip out the program, they said, because the degree wouldn't even make it better. That's how bad the situations got. The degree wouldn't even make it better. So then what are we coming down to? And that's the question. Hold on one second.
Lucky Lefty podcast. So once again, I'll respond. I saw something that was funny. I think it was Roosevelt, because the comment is gone. And Roosevelt is always a listener, big time supporter of LL Nation. Georgia doesn't recruit elite receivers because of their offensive system. Well, I don't know. George Pickens was elite. A.D. Mitchell, who's now at Texas, is elite. Burton, who's now at Alabama, was elite. Dominique Bell is elite, making plays. This narrative that Georgia just doesn't have really good receivers, and even if you don't believe they recruit elite receivers, then they do a hell of a job developing. Because the point is, they get playmakers. Their receivers end up being playmakers. A.D. Mitchell caught 2 touchdowns in the college football playoff last year. Burton won the national championship game in the fourth quarter with his touchdown against Alabama. It's like, dude, playmakers are either developed or recruited. So I'll give you the others. But George Pickens was an elite receiver. Stop, man. Just stop. Stop using that offensive system is the reason Notre Dame doesn't get good wide receivers. Stop. It's lame.
It's lame.
It's lame. It's a bunch of things you can blame Marcus Freeman for. That ain't it.
That ain't it.
Because we're gonna get to Marcus Freeman tonight. See, we're not like everybody else. We don't want to be cool with 10 and give them passes and all of that. No, that ain't us. He's gonna get some. He's gonna get some tonight. Jared Parker's gonna get some tonight. The administration is gonna get some. Everybody's getting something tonight because everybody participated in this dysfunction. Everybody.
And that's what we've been pointing out for so long, is that everybody has a hand in it. Nobody is unculpable in the situation, because at the end.
Let me say this too. Like I said, because I don't know how everybody else conducts their business. When I say stuff, it's because I've done my homework and talked to multiple people. See, because I'm not one of these people. I understand what the job of football programs. This is why football programs have an SID. To control the narrative, to control the story. That's their job.
That's their job.
That's why the head coach comes out, the presser, releases a press release that was released that focused on the lack of development with Chansi Stuckey. That's partly it. That's partly it. But that ain't all. That ain't all. That's partly it.
He put the.
But I understand why the presser read the way it read. Okay?
That's right.
We told you back on April 23rd when we did the live show. Something wasn't right.
Something wasn't right, bro.
I told you during the summer. Thank you. My guy, Garland Doxey, who remembered. I told people back in the summer that Chansi Stuckey was on the hot seat. People came at me. Well, you're crazy. I said, okay. All right.
You go to the practices.
Now you hear go to the message board at IB. It's intel. Oh, this decision was made in the middle of the season, weeks ago. Yeah. You know why? Because that microscope has been on them.
Yeah.
It's been on them.
Yeah.
People came to Sean's head. Thank you, Garland. At the beginning of the season when he said Stuckey was on the hot seat. Now look. Yeah. Yeah.
Now look.
People, we always told you, you could disagree with us. You might not like our delivery, but we're going to keep it funky at all times.
At all times.
And we let stuff fall to the floor so it won't hurt the program.
That's right.
We don't talk about stuff because we know it wouldn't be a good look for the program. So regardless of whether or not you agree with us, respect the fact that we keep it funky. We keep it 100.
That's right. Every time. Because guess
everybody
what?
trying all this protection. Nobody's sitting here saying Chansi Stuckey is a bad person. No. He's just a poor communicator.
And you can't be a poor communicator at this level.
And that poor communication causes things to come across as favoritism in the eyes of a lot of people. See, I did my homework, Left.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I heard from former players that were there last year, family members, kids in the room currently. Talk to everybody. Everybody left. And guess what? The same story we heard back in the spring, we heard the exact same story from multiple kids. So now, y'all can press release all that. Because I was trying to give Cass a chance. Because I'm like, okay, that's one story. Usually it's two sides to every story. And the truth finds itself and nestles itself somewhere in the middle. So I said, we'll let this play out. We'll let this play out. But now, when you get the exact same story from 2, 3, 4 players in the room, it's like, okay, all right. That's not spitting a narrative. Yo, you didn't develop. You're a poor communicator. You showed favoritism. That's 3 things that have yet to be refuted by anyone. Now, I will say this, and this is my last thing, just to let people know the depths of it. If it was my son, it would have been a problem. It might have been some hands. I'll leave it at that. It might have been some hands. It might have been, if it was my son, it might have been some hands. Go ahead, Left. Go ahead, Left. I'll leave it at that.
And you know, and whenever it's a situation like that, you know it's at its boiling point. Because you're talking about any kid that comes to Notre Dame at this point. These kids are good kids 9 times out of 10. Guys that are good head on their shoulder, that want to work, put themselves in the right position, and trust their coaches to get them better. But it has to be a two-way street. It has to be a two-way street of communication on both sides, because not having that, you're stuck in a place where I've been as a player at Notre Dame at a point in time, and that's the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is worse than being in the unknown on a football team.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know your role. You don't know the game plan for your career there. You don't know how the coaches really feel about you. They lying all the time. You don't know why things around you are happening, and you just can't seem to be in control of your own fate. That's how you know that there's underlying things going on where that favoritism pops up, where you just got a beef with a guy. A lot of times, some of these coaches are just as petty. Some of these coaches got vendettas. Some of these coaches got favorites that they like and guys they can depend on. But in a situation like this, having the lack of that trust, development, progression, interest, it does beg the question that, yeah, we can see why we got to do it.
I can't hear you, Left. Your sound went out. Your sound went out, Left. Lucky Lefty podcast. We'll get Left back because I want to give him as much time as he can to expound on things he's found out from the people he's talked to, his thoughts on it. But once again, we're talking about Chansi Stuckey parting ways with Notre Dame. I can share my disappointment. During COVID, most of the current coaching staff was introduced, and I think Vince was sick, and Brian couldn't go because of certain measures. You know, he didn't have the shots, and they didn't want him coming or whatever. So I went with 5 recorders in hand. Just getting audio from all the coaches. I walk up, and if I'm not mistaken, and if he refutes it, I'm just saying, I believe it was Tyler Horton. It was a few coaches around Coach Stuckey, and then they kind of moved away because somebody else became available. And then I think Tyler Horton was standing there, and then I walked up, and we both stood there for a long time. And Coach Stuckey was very engaging, broke down his vision. When I tell you the vision he had for the wide receiver room, it was absolutely impressive. I was impressed by him. We had talks about the coffee shops locally, right? Because my wife is a big coffee drinker. She's into international coffees. I knew he was into Ethiopian coffee, and that's our conversation went into that, and like whether or not he had found a coffee shop locally that served Ethiopian coffee. I'm telling you, man, we talked about ministry, the things we shared, and like I said, very engaging. Just man, look, first impression was like, yo, nothing less. I think he's going to be a fabulous recruiter, which I think that bared itself out. So then fast forward, and I started hearing certain things. I talked to huge appreciation to and blessings to the Merriweather family, the Tyree family, the Carell family, Aiden K, his family, Nana Osafa Menza and his family. Like blessings, eternal favor to the families and those young men. And much appreciation for everything you gave to the University of Notre Dame. First and foremost. And
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, I didn't want to believe, and I chose not to just believe one side of certain things that I heard. I wanted to give opportunity to see what the fruit of things
Comes
would
from
be.
That's right.
Right? The fruit of the things would be. And here we are. November 29, 2023. And yo, what was smoke has now turned into a blazing inferno, as you said, left. And like, who's
Yeah,
gonna stay in the crib? Who's gonna
that's
stay in the
right.
crib when it's on fire? Who? And the
Because it's
dysfunction. Thank you, Marcel. Because no, we're not. This is part of. No, we're not gonna spend the. Yeah, we're gonna spend the block. And see, this goes into Marcus Freeman. Hey, let this is the podcast. I know I'm talking brother to a brother right now, left. I just want to let you know I'm about to go into this brother to brother. Okay. Hey man, coach,
coach.
you need to get this staff right.
That's it.
You at the University of Notre Dame, man. You better get people on this staff that have your best interests at heart. Because that are going to represent you
That's
and how
right.
you would handle things and how you would handle young men. If you're going to go down that way. Go down
Go
your
down.
way.
Yeah, go
Okay?
down your way.
If you
Yeah,
didn't get to
please.
hire your OC, your first OC, it was given to you.
Give it to you.
Your choice of wide receiver coach was vetoed.
Give it to you.
Well, I don't want to use the word veto. But the OC asked for somebody else and got that wide receiver coach, and here we are. And here we are. And here we are. So, whatever you have to do, if you have to stand up for yourself, stand up for yourself in this moment.
That's it. This the moment.
And get everything you want and need.
Yeah.
That's how you go down. If you're going down with the ship, go down with your people.
Yeah.
That's it. Ain't no more of this compromise, reference. Oh, this person, we heard this person. No. Go get your people. Go get your strength and conditioning coach. Go get your wide receiver coach.
Yeah, think about it. Matt Bayless done left him. James Laurinaitis done left him. He got Parker hired, suggested hire for him. Chansi was suggested hire. I mean, at some point, if you don't take the reins of it, it'll run you. It's like riding a horse. If you don't control that horse, it will ride you, and you would never have a chance to really ride it. You've been too comfortable allowing the people to make decisions in important places. You got to think important places, as in your offensive coordinator, important places, especially that you're trying to fix that you didn't have a hand in necessarily hiring. All the things that you have to fix are things you didn't hire or wasn't a part of in that hiring process. Truthfully, from players to coaches to administration, Ron Paulus all in your ear. You like, what is Ron Paulus doing? I mean, that's how you know it's getting ridiculous. If Ron Paulus on your sideline talking to refs, and you supposed to be the guy talking to refs. So the control factor, especially on the offense side of the ball, makes me feel like they really hired Marcus Freeman as a defensive head coach. Because all the defensive moves he's made has been great. Mike Mickens, even special teams, Biaggi has been all right. You got the safeties coach was so good he left. You got the D-line coaches coming along. They had a productive year. Linebackers have progressively gotten better. So in all the areas that you had a hand in, you're not searching for a ton of answers on that. Obviously, you want to get better in those areas, but you did a great job with Al Golden. Look at that. Top 10 defense. All things included. Mike Mickens is on his way to DC or a really good opportunity. And that's the guy that's been with you since the beginning. So you know how to hire. But in a situation like Notre Dame, it's about leverage, power moves, making demands. Because if you don't make them, they will make it for you. And I think we've seen a huge example of that from these last 2 years. This is why I said the third year is so important for Marcus Freeman, is because at the third year point, now it's about you. You done got some of the kids out you didn't recruit. At that time in your third offseason, you should have the staff 98%, 90% equipped with the people that you want to put in place. Because even the 10% that's not, the 10% that's not, you're looking at a 3-loss record.
A little left in the back. Look, I agree, man. Go ahead.
So for me, I think that the only way you do it is going down with your own guns. You borrowing guns going down and they jamming on you. The clip falling out. Trigger don't work. But that's why it's always been Notre Dame chooses not to win a championship. It's always been like that. It's not that we can't. It's not that we don't know how to. It's a choice. It's a choice to not give your head coach certain amenities. It's a choice. It's a choice to not allow him to fix it either. In game adjustment wise. Now, obviously, losing the amount that we have in the room is just, especially the receiver room, it's just not surprising. Look at the production. Look at where the team was headed. At one point on the field in a clutch situation, it was Jordan Faison. Was Tobias even out there? It was like Jordan, Tobias, and like guys that wasn't on the highlight of next year. Rico Flores was out there. And this is 2-minute situation.
Mm-hmm.
This is the game on the line, money on the line. You got to walk on, a true freshman, a guy that doesn't get any attempts, and Mitchell Evans. That's what you rolling out of that receiver room? All those guys combined don't even equal a full scholarship. Because hell, the Walker will have to pay himself. So it's really good to see us cleaning house before the bowl game, because now in the bowl game it should be a good 2-week reset. 2 weeks to reset on things to get ready for the spring, to get an idea of what direction you want to head in. I don't know how fast we'll get a receiver coach between now and the bowl game, but if we don't, it's an opportunity for Jared Parker.
It's probably gonna be Jared Parker's coaching the wide receivers during the bowl practices, so it'll
And
probably be the process. The hire could take place before the bowl game, but
Jared Parker is on the spotlight to me, especially taking on the receiver room, because now there's no way the receivers aren't involved. How the receivers not going to be involved in the game plan this week? You were so used to all year involving the tight ends. Now you're responsible for the receivers. It's time for you to show what the pay dirt looks like. With the room that you have, I still believe we got some talent in there, but this talent is equipped for a Steve Angeli. I think Sam's time should be done. If we're making all these changes, Sam's time should be done. Because what are we playing him for?
mm-hmm.
He already sent himself off. He had a good little last game against Stanford, good little win against his former team. Playing Sam is detrimental to the progression of where we need to be offensively, especially for Jared Parker. If I'm Jared Parker, I'm heavily involved in the next 2 quarterbacks, Kenny Minchie and Steve Angeli, because by spring, I need to know what I'm looking at. And also for the evaluation process to see if you even need a transfer quarterback. Yeah, you may need an arm for camp, an arm for the season, but needing an arm is different than needing a guy to start. Bringing in guys from the transfer portal at this point, because one, I don't like too many of any of them. I saw something today where we were looking at a guy from Duke. I saw something where there was potential from guys from Michigan State. All 3 of those guys went to the portal. So that's not exciting me at all. Because one, who are they going to throw to?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question now. We went from having untapped potential to who are we even throwing to? Because nobody circled Jordan Faison on the bingo card in the beginning of the spring. I didn't even know he was on the team until Louisville game. That's 6 weeks in the season. Didn't even know he was on the team. Not that he wasn't doing anything effective, but I'm so anticipating these freshmen. I'm anticipating JT and Deion Cosley making a nice comeback, doing the things that you naturally see from other teams. Receivers that are experienced, get on the field and make plays. But to have a lack of playmaker at that position and to be getting stretches and spurts of stretches and spurts of impact plays, but not enough to say that we're a threat. We wasn't a threat at receiver all year. When's the last good team not had a threat at receiver? Like, we're really a one-dimensional football team that I can't even think of a team, because even when Georgia had Jake Fromm, they still had George Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
They still had A.J. Mitchell. They had dudes, even though they was heavy run, even when they had, I talk about Wisconsin all the time. James Madison or
Oh,
James
dude, this is
Melvin
what's
Gordon.
what's the young man when they were down 10 in the fourth quarter? The young man that made the Ohio State DB fall on like a 75-yard touchdown. I forget his name because he's been hurt all year, but they just got him back. See, that's the crazy thing. Like,
Just got
dude,
back.
Georgia has playmakers all. They don't have elite wide receivers. They just have guys that score touchdowns in the college football playoff from 75 yards every year.
And don't even play all season.
And don't, yeah, he's
You
just
get
coming
guys
back
that
from injury.
actualize the whole theory of when you get in, change your life. They get guys that get in and change their life, make an impact play. We got guys that get in and it's getting cardio. Guys get in there and be like, okay, I need to run a couple laps, couple sprints, to the point where they don't even look back. They look like a bunch of Deontay Johnsons from the Steelers. Just come off the ball, stand there.
Arian Smith. That's his name. Arian Smith. The dude had 3 touchdowns in the college football playoff. And yeah, he hadn't played since like the second game. But they get him back Saturday with Dominique Bell, Muse, Rosalie St. Jack.
Oh yeah, they say yeah. St. Jack's nice. I saw him down there.
Yeah, they just dude, they got 5, 6 playmakers.
McConkey's the white dude, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he's been cooking. He's been cooking.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you that there's no way, unless we just extremely undervalued our recruitment in the receiver room, that we can't do the same thing. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no way we can't do the same thing. And so the question becomes how to get to that spot, how to get to the point where we can turn that room around. Well, a lot of us got to come and start with the coaching. We got to get the right guy in there that truly develops. Yeah, we had a better understanding from the year before where guys are on YouTube. But you got to think about gains. That's a huge gain. But doesn't mean it makes up the experience that we need.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we got guys off of YouTube and know what a release package is, doesn't mean that we know how to put that in a game consistently. So, oh man, I just think that it's a good thing and a positive thing to look forward to, that we're going to end up being in the right spot because of this, because it happened early enough. Marcus Freeman is so far known for making these huge program changes in personnel before the season is over. Mm-hmm. That's kind of been his moniker. He's done it at the right times, but now he had to do the same thing, but with coaches this year.
Yeah.
And the hard conversations that are being addressed are what makes us feel good about the program, because we know that Marcus Freeman sees what everybody else sees. And for him to be able to take action swiftly like this, because it's not easy to let go of just your position coach. Like, that's a process. But for Marcus Freeman to pull the trigger and make it happen just shows that he is acknowledging its faults. Even though it be too late sometimes, he's still going to be able to try to correct the things that need to be corrected. And from a coaching standpoint and a head coach standpoint, that's all you can ask for. Let's just not have these complications stack up and exist too long to where you can't make a good decision, where it's too late because you held on to the person too long. So from a receiver standpoint, it is an open opportunity, just like the quarterback room was. quarterback room looked bare. The quarterback room needed some spark, needed a guy to galvanize that room so guys can come together, the team can respond to the room better. We still, since quarterback that the team responds to. I think this team responded to Jack Cohn in moments, and I can't speak highly enough about Jack Cohn, and that's because of the comparison now that I have to put with it. In a lot of cases, we took Jack Cohn for granted because Jack Cohn found a way to utilize guys, even with the ability that he had. He didn't have the strongest arm. He may not have done everything right, but he was giving guys chances. You don't throw. We haven't thrown for over 400 yards, damn near 500 yards all year. Hell, maybe in 2 or 3 games combined, we haven't thrown for over 500 yards this year. But Jack Cohn went in that game and was using his receivers. Jack Cohn all year was finding ways to win, making big plays in the pass game, and all because while splitting time. The man was splitting time. When is Sam Hartman ever had to have somebody on his back like that? I can't think of a time. Just to be able to play scot-free, not look over your shoulder, and still not do the things that were asked of you to do. It's not hard for me to make the Jack Cohn and Sam Hartman comparison because Jack Cohn didn't complain. Jack Cohn didn't give us reasons why he didn't get it done. Jack Cohn, he had moments. Let's be serious. Jack Cohn had moments. I can tell you all the time.
Funny? Bro, you know what's funny? You know the funniest thing I saw I had to troll tweet it too. Like cats were out there like, Hartman had a good season. We didn't bring him here to be good. See, that's my problem. The same cats that are trying to take for Hartman having a good season, that's not what you said he was. You said he's a Heisman contender. He's a savior, Heisman contender, difference maker. So good ain't it. You don't give him NIL money to come to Notre Dame to be good.
Yeah, especially when we've never done that before.
So stop. I don't want to hear that.
And
I didn't bring him here for his
Jack, and Jack got 11 wins. We can't even get 11 from Sam.
Wait a minute. And then don't tell me about the OC because you didn't like Jack Cohn's OC either. You thought Jack Cohn's Jack Cohn's OC was bad too. So it's a level playing field. We didn't bring Sam Hartman here to be like Jack Cohn with the same stats. We didn't bring him here for that. We didn't bring him here for that. He was all world. So all of this settling and walking it back now, like, Sam Hartman was good. No. See, because when it's mentioned that Notre Dame averaged 39 points, then the rebuttal is, but what did they do against the good teams? What were Sam Hartman's stats? What were Sam Hartman's stats against the good teams?
That's right.
Because his drop-off was very similar as the OC and the rest of the squad. It wasn't like he played up here against good teams and then the OC and everybody else is down here. Nah.
Or even being an important factor in these big games.
All these Olay red cake passes that y'all trying to give to 10? No. He was part of the dysfunction.
Absolutely.
And,
because he truly looked like he had no
I can say it now. My opinion. Just based on minimal information. Marcus Freeman's offense was less of an issue for Tobias than 10. And you can believe that. And my source on that is credible as hell. Now, you want to know about Tobias? Yeah, but he's not here next year. Yeah.
He can't say it no more. But on top of that, we've been saying that since the spring. What did Sam Hartman himself say in the press conference? Yeah, I'm asking Tyler what to do. Huh? You leaning on Tyler so heavily, well, let Tyler start. And And I told you, once they cleared the decks, they took all the knowledge out of the offense. So what does Sam really have to work with? Jared Parker don't know for real. Gino Gaduli has no help. The guy that had all the offensive in and outs, the terminology, the communication points, and this, that, and the third was Tyler. And to get rid of him and not cater to Sam offensively and try to run the same thing when nobody really knows what to do, what do you expect to happen? That's just a dysfunction recipe right there.
Bro, the dysfunction starts when the administration hires a coach and it's optics left.
Yeah.
See, I've talked about this before. Remember we talked about Colin Klein and what he wanted to bring with him? And it's like, dude, if that's what you want to do, they don't just make it an ultimatum or give it in that form. Like, yo, that's great. Why don't you interview my guys? They're very good. Let them go through the process. You got a real good chance of them actually coming along with you. It's about optics, okay? So the optics were bad. I understand because of recruiting at that point in time. Brian Kelly, I understand that there was an importance of keeping Tommy. But you and Tommy can have that conversation. You don't have to have a press release. You don't have to let people know, oh, Tommy, you don't have to ask the coaches, or you do have to do that. You do have to ask the coaches you're interviewing, are you going to be cool with Tommy Rees being the OC? Because that's the decision you make. That's fine.
Before you got the head coach, you asked in the future head coach about a guy that's already there.
But optically, make it look like Marcus Freeman wanted to retain Tommy Rees.
Right.
Your optics were bad. They were bad. Dysfunction. Marcus Freeman wants Jamarcus Shepard. Tommy gets his guy, Chansi Stuckey. Dysfunction. Which is why I told Marcus Freeman, hey, man, get the people that you want.
Straight up.
You can take references. You can talk to Jared Parker, ask his opinion, but it's your decision. It comes down to you. Because at the end of the day, when they call you in that office and say, man, we're no longer keeping you as head coach, nobody else is going to be around. No one else is going to be speaking up for you.
Oh, no. They ain't speaking up for you now.
No.
They telling you what to say. They telling you what to say.
No.
But nobody is going to step out there, Marcus Freeman, and be like, Marcus Freeman was a good dude that did deserve it. Nobody's going to say that. They're going to be like, he was over his head. That's what they're going to say. He was in over his head. Think he can take on this program and do the
They're saying that now. They're saying that now.
In year two.
And your logic from an administration standpoint is, man, we're taking a chance hiring a first-time coach. We're going to help him out. We're going to keep Tommy around. Keep people that understand. We're going to help him out. You sow the seed of dysfunction.
Sow the seed of dissension. Because what are you helping out a guy that you bringing in that you believe in? If you hiring a guy because you believe in him, you don't
stand on it. Left, that's what have we been saying? Regardless of whether or not he's a first-time coach, if he's your guy and you believe in him, stand on it. Don't fluff it. Oh, well, I'll make the decision. Look, it'll look a lot better if we keep this person and if we do this and we do that. What are we doing? Stand on it. Stand on it. And I don't think it's a make or break year for Marcus Freeman. I don't. Because the man his first 2 years, he's about, the man can literally win have double-digit wins this year, man. Like, come on, man. But you got to get that staff. You got to get this staff right. These next 2 hires, strength and conditioning and wide receiver coach, huge hires. Huge. All caps. Huge. Can't hear you, Left. Try to reconnect. Lucky Lefty podcast. So we're gonna wrap this portion. Let's get to some of the transfers, some other news. We saw the Riley Leonard news. I see people talking about the Justin Scott thing. I actually had a conversation with some local people about Justin Scott yesterday. So Brian Driscoll texted me, like, why didn't you tell me? I was like, yo, I was asked not to. Because there was no connection to Notre Dame. But I reported when he committed to Ohio State that wouldn't be his first commitment.
Oh, he decommitted.
Yeah, he decommitted from Ohio State. He's going to Miami. So,
wait a minute. When did this happen?
Bro, look. I talked to a recruiting person. Put it like this. I'm from Chicago. Tom Lemming is a recruiting GOAT from Chicago. Okay? And our big bro is locked in to Chicago recruiting at the Big Ten Network. All three of us have the exact same thing. How in the world? If you would put all three of us in a room, we will all say the same thing. How did Notre Dame screw this up?
Exactly. How did they know they screwed up for sure?
All three of us would tell you if this was a layup. How did Notre Dame screw this up? Period. His recruitment got to a point of no return.
And there's only a couple things that can take it there, though. There's only a couple things that can even make something
wait a minute.
Like
that we told people during the summer. Eventually, the stories will come out once everything is over. Just wait. Don't have to say nothing else. Just wait.
Yeah, just wait.
Because the place it got to, it should have never gotten there. Never. Everything should have been wrapped up.
I mean,
remember when I told you on this podcast left that the math was not mathing?
Right. That's right.
And on that coaching staff, remember I said that?
That's right.
Come on, man. I don't do narratives, bro. I don't do narratives.
We just do the math.
That's it. Tom Lemon might be the only person that's spoken to that young man face to face more than me.
Yeah.
And that's because he's the GOAT. And he's been on him since he was a freshman.
Man.
When I told you that Miami had every former Miami player based in Chicago calling that dude and taking that dude out to dinner, I told you what was happening, Left.
I told you what was happening. You know the brother like to eat. Down there in Chicago.
Left, I told you what was happening. And I told you Notre Dame was being out-hustled. And that's fine.
Hustle.
That's fine. If you're not willing to do, if you're not willing to do what the next man's willing to do, then fine. That's fine. They flew his official visit, bro. They flew the elite of the elite in hurricane history. Not to talk to him, to talk to his mama. Because they knew what the major stumbling block was in his recruitment. All the greats on the defensive line that you can think of that went to Miami. Heck, Jason Taylor is the D-line coach. They flew all of them in, not to talk to Justin Scott, to talk to his mama. To convince her why he would be okay in South Beach. said that on the recruiting show too. When he committed to Ohio State, I was like, oh, he's not sticking with that. He's not sticking with that. Because I knew what Miami was still doing. Michigan gave up. Notre Dame, they kept digging in, but it just, man, getting out hustled, man, outworked. And once it became a dogfight, hey, it was an unfair fight at that point. Unfair. But you ask myself, Tom Lemon, and anybody else based in Chicago, you'll get the same reply. How in the world did Notre Dame mess that up? That's it. How they mess it up? Lucky Lefty podcast. That's enough for the Chansi Stuckey. Like, man, I don't know. Somebody in the chat said we were dancing around. I don't know how more direct I could have been. I do. Yes. Yes. Miami did get Marquise Lightfoot from Kenwood. Yes, they did. They absolutely did. Yes, they did. Somebody that let us say Notre Dame kind of just passed on, in a sense. Lightfoot and Stott were both leaning towards one school, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, the math just all of a sudden wasn't math. I don't know, man. I don't. Hey, but at that position, honestly, the Justin Scott thing is a whole nother conversation. But the Lightfoot thing, Logan Thomas and some other guys in the class are very comparable. Bryce Young is very comparable. So I wouldn't lose too much sleep over the Marquise Lightfoot thing. And I love Marquise Lightfoot, right? That's like, I don't lose much sleep over Darian Dupree going elsewhere, because I mean, Keidron Young is, and Aeneas Williams, they're the real deal. They do, so I would love to have as many great players on the squad as we can have, but yeah, do early on, Lightfoot said he talked to Al Washington more just about I was about to say something. Notre Dame talked to Lightfoot at one point. Notre Dame was talking to Lightfoot more than any other recruit in Chicago. I'll say it like that. I'll get deeper into it. I'll get deeper into it at the National Signing Day. I'll get it into it. And that's straight from the horse's mouth. And then all of a sudden, well, like I said, but Bryce Young and Logan Thomas, I love my Chicago kids, but I can't go in Notre Dame. Somebody said, man, I'll go. How can I say this respectfully, man? There are a lot of coaches on the defensive side of the ball that evaluate and go out and really do the leg work, recruiting wise, defensively. Al Golden is not one of them. And I'm not saying he doesn't watch film. I'm not saying he doesn't give an opinion. But we're not about to sit up here and say, defensively, it's other coaches that do the heavy lifting when it comes to evaluation and recruiting. Period. And there is, I don't care how trustworthy his evaluation is. There is no formula or equation that makes sense on passing on Justin Scott. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And I know some people out there just always want to defend Notre Dame and just feel like Notre Dame can never do anything wrong. Anything negative about Notre Dame is a narrative, and man, stop. Stop. It's okay to let your poop stink sometimes. It's okay. Because there's some stuff out there now. There's some poop in these streets right now. And it's okay because eventually the smell goes away. But leave it alone. Stop trying to paint it as a narrative. Stop trying to paint it as, well, that's not the case. You don't know the real story. Man, it's poop. It is what it is. Let it lay there. Let it die. That's it. Because the more you try to make excuses for it, the more it's going to stink. And then down the road, when other stuff comes out, now you have to create other narratives for those things that come out. Just let it lie. Let it lie there, man. Just let it lie there, dude. Let it lie there. Just let it lie there, dude. Got 3 or 4 kids bouncing from the program with the same exact story about the wide receiver coach. Cats out here trying to paint the picture that it's strictly development. Man, stop. 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 Just stop, man. Just stop. Let me tell you this story because my daughter was a competitive cheerleader for roughly 7 years. We took her to the best team in the city of Chicago on the south side because we could have taken her to the suburbs. ICE, a crazy team. It was a team down in Florida where they homeschooled the kids that wanted her. We considered that. It's a couple other big time programs out in the northwest suburbs. And we found a program on the south side of Chicago that was going to the same tournaments and beating these teams. Beating these teams. And the coach was a former college cheerleader. His staff was former college cheerleaders. And my wife took her to practice the majority of the time. So I took her to practice this one time. And I heard how the coach spoke to the kids. These are teenagers, ages 9, 10, 11, all the way up to 18. It is a coach cursing the kids out when they make a mistake. And I'm looking around the room and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm looking at the other parents like, y'all cool with this? So after practice, I said, Coach, can I talk to you for a second? And we went in his office. Because see, I know how to do things. I didn't need to publicly. I didn't like what I was saying. I didn't need to embarrass him publicly in front of the other parents. I didn't need to confront him like that. I asked to speak to him in his office. Went into his office and I said, Coach, My daughter does not hear that type of talk in our household. I don't talk to my daughter like that when I reprimand her. And no other man is going to talk to her like that. I said, so either you can choose to tell her and correct her, because she's very smart. And she probably knows the mistakes she made before you tell her. So either you handle her the way we handle her as her parents, or we can go find another gym. Never had a problem out of that coach with my daughter for the rest of her time with that team. See, I sum it up like this. When you don't know how to properly communicate, you open yourself up for others to misinterpret your actions. When you're a poor communicator, you can have a wealth of knowledge about the game of football, but you're incapable of downloading it to those that you've been entrusted to. And it's quite possible that you being upset with those that don't get it, according to your point of view, are not getting it because of your lack or inability to communicate. And if it was one, fine. Maybe two. I still give you the benefit of the doubt. But when it gets to the point that it's the majority of the room that feels the same way, see, because Marcus Freeman didn't make this move just because of one disgruntled person, two disgruntled people. He didn't make this move because of that. It was a majority. So this whole thing, like, look, I don't know who other people have talked to. I laid the breadcrumbs back in the spring. I wasn't even around in the fall because I was dealing with my medical issue. But I still was talking to people. And I came back early before the season started and said, hey, this dude is under the microscope. And everybody thought I was loony. But here we are. Because I knew exactly what took place in the spring. And even before that, before National Signing Day the prior year, and I knew what was happening. And I said, let's see. Because if it's the truth, it's going to come out in the wash. And here we are, November 29, 2023. It has come out in the wash. Now, whatever narrative everybody else wants to paint to protect the kingdom, dude, this is one instance where you don't even have to protect the kingdom. For what? No crime has been committed. There's been no physical abuse. What are you trying to protect? It's a bad hire. Didn't work. Poor communicator. It happens. Move on. But we're not about, see, because it happened back in April with a certain individual. They were painted as the bad apple. Remember that? That was, you want to talk about narratives? That was the narrative. You want to talk narratives? That was the narrative back in April. Oh, such and so, he's a bad apple. Okay. So now everybody else, they're bad apples too. Tobias Merriweather, he's a bad apple. Chris Tyree, he's a bad apple. The other youngsters in that room that feel the exact same way, they're bad apples. Everybody can't be a bad apple. Well, this is ironic. People are talking about narrative or the narrative about Coach Stuckey. But they had no problem painting the narrative about the young man back in the spring. No problem at all. No problem hanging him out to dry. None. They painted that narrative like a Picasso. But you can't do that now because it's too many. It's too many. So now you want to try and protect Chansi Stuckey. No, man. For what? Protect him for what? He didn't commit a crime. He was just a bad coach. He didn't get the job done. What are you protecting? Let the poop lie there. That's it. That's fine. He didn't get the job done. He did not have his wide receiver room. He didn't. That's fine. Let's stop trying to paint pictures, man. Stop trying to protect the kingdom. Stop. It's okay. Doesn't make him a bad person. I'm sure he will learn from this instance and become a better coach for it. He will learn from this and become a better coach. Flat out. Because he's a good dude. He just failed his room. He failed the young men in that room. He wasn't able to teach them. Doesn't mean he doesn't know the game. Hey, sometimes you just can't get across to your students. But this is what I don't understand, Notre Dame fans. This is not a situation where you have to protect Notre Dame. Protect from, what are we protecting? Like, what has been, did somebody report that Chansi Stuckey physically abused somebody? Did somebody report that Chansi Stuckey was a bad person? I'm trying to figure out what has been talked about that's so bad that it's, who I don't even, this is what's in the chat. Whoever said it, that it's a narrative out there about Chansi Stuckey. No narrative. Events happened. Events took place. There's one side of the story, there's another side of the story. All I'm telling you is that it's a whole bunch of similar stories on one side. A lot. And that's it. One of the things that was said, all he did was scream. I don't trip on that because the biggest screamer and the loudest coach at practice was Harry Heastand. Every practice. I could be on the other side of the field and hear Harry Heastand. So screaming, that doesn't mean anything to me. Okay, he was a screamer. Harry was a screamer, but Harry could teach. While he was screaming, he could get his point across. The young men were able to download what he was saying. And even the young men that didn't vibe with Harry, years later, come back and say, man, I didn't get what he was saying at that point, but now I totally understand the things that he was teaching. Because as a coach, you're not teaching so much football, you're teaching life to young men. You're a coach at a big time football, not even big time, at any football program, whether it's high school or college. You're not just teaching football. Your biggest lesson is to teach young men life and how to become men. That's the biggest lesson you should be teaching. That's it. So this is what I don't understand, based upon what the chat is saying. That is talk out there about narratives and the narratives surrounding Chansi Stuckey. Ain't no narratives, man. Certain events happen. It's not a good look for him. It's not a good look for the program. It is what it is. We're not covering up nothing. No crimes committed. He failed as a wide receiver coach. he did not do a good job. And certain things that he did or said were not good looks. Period. It happens. That's it. What are we trying to protect? So you Notre Dame fans that always feel like you have to protect Notre Dame, you don't have to protect Notre Dame. There's nothing to protect. He failed. And because he failed, you have young men choosing to leave the program. And dude, NC Notre Dame fan has nothing to do. Look, I use myself as an example. Has nothing to do with him being a Christian. Absolutely nothing. My first sermon was at 13. I've been in seminary school since I was 16. I have a doctorate in theological studies. My knowledge of the Word of God and theology has never been an issue. You know what my father had to mentor me on? My delivery. How to get what's inside of me inside of others. That's the challenge. Getting the knowledge inside of yourself, that's not the challenge. Being able to get people to relate to you and to receive from you is the biggest challenge. And that's what my dad never talked to me about scripture. He never tested me on scripture. His mentorship was about, son, you have to continue to craft the way you deliver the message because it's paramount. Because you're not here for you, you're here for the others. It's about how they receive from you. It's not about how well you speak. How well can you get them to receive from you? So it has no, whether you're a Christian, Protestant, Catholic, Muslim, that doesn't matter. Do you have the skill set to tap into young men for them to be able to relate to you, pull from you, and pull in what you're giving them? Which is why I said he had 1 year at Baylor. He came to Notre Dame, which is a huge step up, and he didn't get the job done. And because I believe that he's a really good dude, he will learn from this situation and he will be much better at his next stop as a wide receiver coach. I believe that. That's why I don't understand this whole narrative. What? He didn't do anything other than fail as a developer, a communicator, and as a coach. That's what he did. And unfortunately, the way he chose to handle certain situations and communicate just wasn't a good look. He wasn't cursing when he was screaming at young men. According to the reports I have, he was just screaming. He was a screamer. Harry would cuss. I didn't say curse. Harry Heastand would cuss you out. But those young men on the offensive line felt the love. They felt the love because that was his way. That was part of his way. It wasn't the only way he showed them love, but they knew that was his way. When he got on them, they knew he was doing it because they loved him. And Malik said something. You're able to do that. Harry's able to do that because he's laid the foundation of trust in that program. He has all pros come back, all pros, to work out with Harry Heastand. And his current players see that. It's like, yo, this dude still, you guys still trust him? Trust matters, man. The screaming probably comes across a little bit better if you have the trust within the room. I'm not sure I can say Chansi Stuckey had that trust. Certainly not from the majority of the room. That's it. You know, that's a good question. I'm sure Dabo was one of the first people he called. I'm sure it was like his mentor. I'm sure Dabo Swinney will be one. And if Dabo can't get him on the staff, Dabo would definitely make calls on his behalf. And you have to remember, before he went, he was in ministry, heavily into ministry, before he said the Lord told him to go into coaching. And he contacted Dabo Swinney. So, you know, but it goes back to, look, I've said this, as much as you can be disappointed about this season, I'm waiting for Malik. He was getting the boys settled. He picked them up, taking them inside, cooking them dinner, getting them settled. I'm sure he's going to jump back on once he does that. But send me your questions. GTB, get to the bag. Just a quick summary. Chris Tyree, he'll be missed because of his leadership, in my opinion. His reason for leaving, in my opinion, is because I think his decision had the least to do. The guys that were going to be around 2 years plus, the impact of Chansi Stuckey was more impactful on their decisions and everything. Chris Tyree, he had 1 year. Somebody asked Braden Lindsay. Braden Lindsay, his concussions led to his decision not to come back or to go to the NFL. Chris Tyree is just looking for stability. No clue who the quarterback's going to be. I saw the reports that Riley Leonard entered. Do you guys remember when Riley Leonard got injured on this show? And I said, you know, I think this injury just kept Riley Leonard from the NFL draft. And a lot of you in the chat were like, oh, he's gone. And I'm like, no, because knowing Riley Leonard, he's going to try and come back on that hurt ankle to help his team win games. And yeah, he's not going to play well, more than likely, on that ankle. And he's going to end up staying another year. And if Mike Elko gets another job, he'll be in the portal. And here we are. That sprained ankle against Notre Dame, man, comes full circle if he decides to come. There's a report out there. A lot of people have crystal balled him to Notre Dame. I hear Auburn is coming really hard. I'm pretty sure they're throwing a lot of money at him. So until the portal opens and things can be official, we'll see what goes on. And then we can have a further discussion on, but this is my issue. Please don't bring him or any other quarterback into this program expecting them to solve the issues that exist. There are some issues, but dude, the dysfunction that exists, those things need to be taken care of, man. Because the quarterback won't matter. The issues need to be taken care of. And the next 2 hires will go a long way to dealing with some of those issues. So that's Chris Tyree. I think Chris Tyree was just looking for stability. A spot with a veteran quarterback, veteran OC, and just a situation he feels like he can trust. Because this is his last shot, especially when it comes to evaluation for the NFL. This is his last shot. So it's very important for him to be in a comfortable situation. And right now, wide receiver coach is gone. Don't know. Even if they didn't go to the portal, who's on Steve Angeli, like Kenny Minchie, a young quarterback. Tyree and his family just made the decision, like, let's go find a more stable situation. Have a degree, appreciate the time. let's do what's best for us. Can't fault it. See, Carell, I can't sit here and say, yeah, next two hires, strength and conditioning coach, wide receiver coach. Next two hires. Very important. Very important. Zeke Carell. Look, man, 70 was impressive. And I'm not saying that's the only thing that went into the decision. Ashton Craig was impressive, man. And he was a bigger, more athletic version of Zeke Carell, who's battled injuries, tough as nails. Did a really good job this year. Man, once again, he just made a decision. Aiden K, too, just often injured. When he got in this year, he really stood out. He did during his playing time this year. He has a lot of youngsters, impressive youngsters in front of him on a depth chart. He's just looking for that opportunity to show what he can do, to possibly start. Tobias Merriweather. The Chansi Stuckey stuff was very impactful. The quarterback stuff was very impactful. Yeah. Some other factors. I did speak with his dad, just to kind of, he watched the podcast, always showed us love, always supported us and said, man, I love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. So hate to see him and his family leave the program and the family. And once again, he said the same sentiments. And I just said, yo, blessings. Blessings to you and the family and Tobias in your next phase. And he was gracious as always, but yeah. And Notre Dame fought. I'll say that. Notre Dame fought. They fought tooth and nail to retain multiple players in the wide receiver room. Multiple players. This was like in addition to the 24 class. Like, because some guys had to be convinced and recruited in a sense. So, hey, unfortunately, you have to look at Tobias, man, once again. In a sense, because of what he feels and what his family feels, 2 years have been wasted. And you want me to trust my last 2 years to a coach that I have no relationship with, didn't recruit me, don't know who he is, have to trust that, and have to trust a new quarterback? No. I have to go find a better situation for me. It's a business decision. I just hate that young man, unlike the previous young man we talked about, I hate that young man left without his degree. I hate when any young man comes here, puts in the years, and does not leave here on target to get that Notre Dame degree. It's tough. Oh, let's get to it. Brendan Franklin has a transfer portal ruined college football. I think it sucks for high school players. I think it gives the portal is perfect and aligns perfectly with playoff expansion because it now gives, it's almost like the NBA, right? Like half the league makes the playoffs. Over half the league makes the playoffs. Like you have teams with 39 wins that make the playoffs in the NBA. right? Which is crazy. And the transfer portal gives hope to teams 1 through 50 in Division 1 that they have a shot. If they can hit in the portal, they have a shot to go into the last few weekends with a chance to make it into the college football playoffs with 12 teams being added, or 8 more teams being added. So yeah, it's changed college football. I don't think people would tell you it's hurt college football because it aligns with expansion and it builds upon the excitement that expansion is going to bring for a lot of different college football programs that have never had that excitement going into the last couple of weekends. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy next year. And honestly, this year, the way things have gone, really would have been the perfect year for the first year of expansion. Like, just look at the way things have played out. This would have been the perfect year for a 12-team playoff. It really would have been. It really would have been. So, I want to show you something. That's a great question. And it makes me think about something that I want to show you guys and play for you guys. Let me see if I can pull it up. And while I'm getting that ready, let's get to some more of the questions because, Matt Rule, I don't know how many of you saw it today, but Matt Rule, said something. And it was like, when he said it, I was like, hey, man, it is what it is, my brother. Like, you want empathy from me? Game is the game, right? That's a famous quote from, when Marlo went to see Avon to try and get the connect. The game is the game. Marlo said, that's what Marlo said. Avon said, always. The game is the game. Let's see. Jay Grizz, how confident are you that we end this season with a W? Based upon the matchup, Notre Dame matches up well with LSU, in my opinion. The legs of Jalen Daniels will be Jay Daniels. I'm sorry, not Jalen, but Jaden Daniels will be. That's the X factor in that game, right? But the legs of Caleb Williams were the X factor against USC. So, Notre Dame had the game plan. Okay, force him to his left, right? So we know if he's running left, he can't throw as well going to his left. And then, we swarm him and get him to the ground. That's the same challenge if they face LSU. Get him to the ground, be aggressive. Don't give his wide receivers a bunch of time and come after him. Because that run game, the LSU run game, is not anything to really worry about. So if they can stop Jaden Daniels from, he's a great player. So he's going to make some plays. But we'll see. I feel comfortable. So yeah, I feel confident that they'll win the bowl game based upon the teams I've seen forecasted thus far. Troll Sniper, do you think anyone or any more wide receivers into the portal? From what I've gathered, talking to people, I don't think so. It's a possibility. It's a possibility because there's some guys that were Stuckey guys that feel a certain way. So I guess it's a chance that they could decide to leave. But yeah. I know I missed some other questions. Let me see. Berkshire, I don't know what your question was. If you can put it back in, there's left right there. You got him settled. I told everybody, I said he had to get him settled, man. Had to make sure they had something to eat.
Yeah, you know how that goes, man. The babies wait for no man.
So left, I just kind of I moved on from Chansi Stuckey and went down the path of Z Carell, Chris Tyree, Tobias Merriweather, Nana Asafa Menza, Aiden K. All of them hopping into the transfer portal. Whether or not they would be missed, why they left. And, Jordan Faison is Chris Tyree. If you just look at it,
Same.
right? And then Jaden Greathouse and Rico Flores are slot guys. So
essentially, you got 3 slot guys, no number 1 receiver.
yeah. So
because who is even the number 1 between those 3? We still don't have a number
1. Nathan Milton. This is a good question. Thank you. Sean, was Coach Marcus Freeman slow to act? And if this was something too granular to be on, or was it too granular to be on his radar? I will say this. There were certain things that occurred when things first kind of hit the fan, if that's the correct phrase to use, that kind of masked the situation. I'll leave it at that. But as time went on, I think, certain things took place. The intel that Brian Driscoll put up on the IB message board was this decision was not something that happened recently. This decision had kind of been.
I mean, it should have been judged based off of just how the season been going.
Yeah, it had kind of been made, like around the bye week. Like it had kind of been made. So I think when he really understood everything, because he empowers his coaches to coach. He empowers his coaches to have the conversations. That's why he says we have conversations about where our players stand within the program throughout the year, because he has empowered his coaches to have those conversations. And when you do that, certain things that happen can slip through the cracks. But it's his coach under his watch and his hire. Nobody's going to sit up here and say that was Tommy Rees's hire, even though we know that to be the case. Nobody's going to sit up here and say that. It's his hire. He hired him. His coach. Ultimately, his responsibility.
That's right.
Great question. Josh Buffo, the motivational business banker. Thank you for your question. Once again, if you have questions, GTB, get to the bag. What recruit out there are we going to flip? In my opinion, elite programs can come in and flip elite players. We got anyone out there at all? Yes or no? It's cool unless you can say names. Thank you, SD.
I just haven't seen us be a team where we're getting recruits that want to just abruptly leave, like an AJ Mitchell situation. I don't think we have the NIL for that.
Like AD Mitchell when he went to Texas. Yeah.
Right, like a good player that's starting, like Jermaine Burton, he wouldn't be like, let me go from Alabama to Notre Dame.
Yeah. Yeah. Patrick Duffy, thank you for the super chat. Coach Freeman set the narrative. Get out today. Love Freeman. Kelly won 8 games each of his first 2 years. Freeman has got this. He's learning, he's changing, getting stronger. No matter who leaves, he is on the rise. I couldn't agree with you more, Patrick Duffy.
I mean, he's kind of just adapting to just everything that's hitting him constantly. I mean, he's constantly got to deal with the fact that things are happening around him and undermining some of the stuff he probably has been wanting to implement because that's important to fitting into the culture he's building, you know.
Yeah.
And things, it sucks when things are going in two different directions. You pushing right, they pushing left.
Yeah, it is. Man, look, and this was my, when I did the show with Brian Driscoll yesterday, this was my pushback on everybody that just wanted to lay everything offensively at the feet of Jared Parker. It's like, hey, it's a lot of stuff going on that people just not privy to, man. A lot of stuff. It's not as simple as, oh, he's a bad play caller. His game plan sucks. Like, and without saying certain things, we kept saying, like, dude, it's a lot of dysfunction, especially on that side of the ball.
Definitely a lot of dysfunction.
Because as far as the coaching staff on the defense side of the ball, they're locked in. There's continuity.
That's right. And you can see the
You
year
can see
one
the
and year
difference.
two.
Yes.
Year 1 to year 2 progression. You don't see a freshman come out of nowhere and just be the impact player, linebacker, or anything like that. You see guys that are seniors hold on to positions and be better the next year and be good for it. So it is something to witness how different of a way they're both ran, and you see how it doesn't complement the way it's happening either.
I agree, man. And it's really not as disappointing as it is. It's really not a doom and gloom situation. Because it's like, okay, you see an issue, take care of it. And hey, that's life, right? You reap what you sow. So, we lose Tobias because of how things were handled. It's tough. No one wants to see that. But it's okay. Because it's important to rectify this because you still have 3 youngsters that are going to be sophomores, and you have 4 youngsters that are going to be sophomores. Because KK was red shirt. KK was red shirted. Jordan, that's 5. Jordan Faison is a sophomore, and then you have 3 more coming in. So you have 8 youngsters that are dependent on this next wide receiver coach to get them ready. So,
and that's right, and that's why we was like, who do we really want back, and who we ask politely to graduate? And I think guys leaving helps the equation in the long run, and it's cool to see it balancing the scales. Like you said, we got a lot of young talent, especially quarterback, that if they can get on the field early enough together, by year 2, 3, or even the first year, you can do some things.
Yeah. So, Adam Shipley says, what does this do to the wide receiver room numbers? It's still pretty healthy.
Well, transfer portal, you want to, in regular, you going in the spring, you probably get, what, 12, 10 to 12?
Like I just said, you got 3 freshmen coming in, you got 5 sophomores. If they all stay, you still have the young Cozy. You still have JT, so that's 10. I don't know how many you want in the room. I mean, you could take a transfer, I guess.
Yeah.
And get to 11 if you want.
It's one of those things. I think, if anything, if we're continually to add a veteran, it needs to be a really good player. Need to grab us one of them receivers that don't fit in the room, that move at a different pace of speed or something, to be the rabbit in the room, because in a room that's talent but unproven, nobody knows how to push each other.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to see a lead dog come in. I mean, we got a receiver tight end last year type of player that didn't even make the field. So I mean that
Um,
can happen sometimes. And Caleb Smith.
yeah. So, you have any initial thoughts on the reports that Riley Leonard entered the portal left, and supposedly a lot of people are crystal balling him to Notre Dame?
I mean, it would just be another repeat episode. I don't think Riley Leonard is providing anything that, you know, is going to put us over the hump. And I think he's a little more injury prone than probably what we would want. And I think it's going to mess up the QB potential cycle that you can create by seeing what you have on the roster already. You only know development by the guy that gets on the field and sees if he got better. We are on a quarterback transfer cycle, which is unhealthy because it's like taking these one-off diets that are super extreme. It's like at some point you got to get back regular. And for us, we're not being regular in the sense of development happens by having a span of time you're watching a guy grow. If we can't get a guy that we got in the stable on the field with the confidence and the supreme belief that he's the number one guy, and we're not just trying to replace him every year, then we can only tell what development looks like from a year 1 to 2. And Ian is a good example of that. He got multiple years to be able to see if he got better, and maybe he stayed consistently the same, consistently average. So I think that it would be interesting because it's like, what are you signing him to do? That's the other question.
Mm.
Sam Hartman, we knew the role. It was 3 games. It's your world in front of you. You have every opportunity to change your own life. I mean, before the Ohio State game, he was in the Heisman race. So for him, it was clear understood because which was good because now we knew how to judge it. That's why I'm so harsh on Sam because I'm judging him not off of how cool and good looking he is, but because we knew what the contract stood for. Did you do the job or not? And it wasn't just to be good. That's why I'm like, I'm with you when this whole be good thing is being accepted, because how can it? We didn't sign
Mm-hmm.
him to be good. We signed him to win 3 games that could put us over the hump. Period. That's it. Jack Combs was to, in my opinion, was to bring along Tyler, that at some point in the season, Tyler will overtake the reins and start. Tyler didn't get a chance to really see that through, which I think messed his timing up at Notre Dame when it came to years.
Yeah.
So now what's the goal with Riley Leonard? The season is as open and as dunkable with who you have on the roster if you are worth a damn at developing anybody. If you truly got a guy you recruit that you like to play actually on the field at Notre Dame, this
Mm-hmm.
is the year to play him. This schedule ain't beastie where we desperately needed a veteran or a guy that's ready to go right now. This is season where we can take a damn near average guy to start and watch him blossom, and then we can see, all right, we need to look at our own coaching now. We can't take this dude and let him and develop him as an average guy to beat regular teams. Then what are we doing? Because now we just looking for a hired gun that has no chemistry and connection with the team, which I feel like we saw this year. We had no connection with this team this year. Well, he didn't. I mean, anytime on the sideline, what was he doing? Just standing there, posing. You didn't see him run up to the line often and hype up his receivers. He'd just be sitting there, standing. So this is an opportunity in the year, especially with a guy like C.J. Carr coming in, to see Angeli and Minchie rock out a nice battle and go about it the same way, decide in the spring and hit the ground rolling.
Mm-hmm.
The only way I would use a transfer is just a guy that I'm just trying to give an opportunity to. I'm just trying to hire a gun to just, run my scout team. I'm not hiring a starter that's looking to go to the league and level up off of us again. It ain't even a quarterback in the transfer portal that's worth giving all these resources to, thinking they're going to carry us to some championship. He's not even a quarterback talented enough in the portal to do that. So that's how I feel about Riley. It's like we're only gifting another guy that's in the middle of the road. Remember, this is Duke he went to. This is Duke he went to. He didn't go to no damn, Bama or no, Texas or no credible type of place. He went to Duke, a basketball school. So say what you want. Duke is right next to Wake Forest. So you if anything, you moving laterally, not vertically.
And left, I can't say this any more than I've already said it. Steve Angeli can tell you better than Riley Leonard or any other quarterback what it feels like to be a quarterback at Notre Dame. He has not yet experienced what it's like to be the starting quarterback at Notre Dame. But Riley Leonard, this is not Duke. This is not Duke. And that's not to say that Riley Leonard hasn't played in big games. He's played in big games according to Duke's football history. He has not played in big games according to Notre Dame history. That's totally different.
That's right. This is we're not asking him to go into Cameron Indoor and have some massive performances on the basketball court.
That's totally different. Now, if this was a transfer that Shrewsbury was getting
hell
from Duke, I'm like, okay, he understands.
He's getting we're winning in this deal.
Yeah.
We're not winning on this deal.
Not from
we're not. If this is a negotiation or a trade, we are taking the lesser every time. Jack Cohn, a backup at Wisconsin, behind Graham Mertz, a backup. We lost that trade. We end up winning. I'm sorry, we won that trade because maybe Wisconsin like, damn, we don't let this man, go. But Jack Cohn, I mean, at least Sam Hartman had the resume to fool you.
But Jack Cohn was a winner.
That's true.
Jack Cohn had won a Big Ten championship.
That's right.
Like that.
Jack Cohn played in some moments now. I'm telling you, he's a moment guy.
I don't know if there are winners out there that have yet to get in the portal that might. But look, I want a winner. Because see, I said this, Left. Bro.
And 50 starts don't make you a winner. Let's put it like that.
Win games. Win games. You're not going to put up 30 points every game. If you go into a game against Texas A&M and you win 21-17, we won. I don't give a darn what the score is. We won.
That's right. That's right.
If we had beaten Ohio State 14-10, I would not have cared.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, we won the game. That's it. Win the games and worry about scoring more points as we go. As you clear up mistakes and improve. Just find a way to win the game.
That's right.
That's it. Find a way to win these games. Shoot, that's all Florida State is trying to find a way to win the game. Florida State ain't thinking about scoring 40, 50 points against Louisville. Hey, man, we don't have our quarterback. Win this game. Win the game.
Yeah, Florida State's all about winning. You don't hear nothing about no Keon Coleman and they electric. It's like, look, they just trying to slug it out and win these last couple. Which also shows the mark of a good team because they're willing to find a way to win when everybody knows that their secret of winning is out the window in terms of winning the big game, like beating a potential Georgia, Michigan. I don't think they can do that without that guy. However, I do think that they can be able to push through as a good team to still hold themselves afloat to try to deserve a chance in the playoffs because they win the games that they have to win and they find a way to do it, as opposed to teams that we believe are good
Yeah.
like us and we can't find a way to win when it matters.
I saw Brian, is it Kern? I'm sorry. Is it Khan? Brian Khan. Thanks for tapping in. He said Malik Murphy if he enters the portal.
He hasn't proved to win anything though. Like you just said, Sean, we need
And
guys that
that's a 2-year commitment. Like
that's a
wherever he goes,
yeah, definitely a 2-year commitment also because he does have talent. I mean, he held off Archie Manning, and if you can hold off politics, that means you got some talent.
yeah.
If you can hold off politics, because Quinn Ewers did it, and he got the talent though. But the backup can do it too. They like, all right, you know, we can't just woo this one over your head. You know, it ain't nothing you can do. So I do think that I would look less for talent and talented potential guys that don't win yet, because we got talented guys on the roster that haven't won yet.
Yeah.
At least we recruited them.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk left. I'm talking to talk left. I'm talking to somebody right quick.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So getting back to the matter of what's it going to take for us to get over the hump, it starts in that quarterback room. Gino Gaduli's got to start earning his worth and prove that the guys that he's been, cultivating in the background, because I'm sure how much do you really talk to Sam during the season and even before with the short time you got. So I'm expecting big things from Angeli and Kenny Minchie based on Gino Gaduli taking a bigger role this year. He needs to prove his worth, and I think he's got it in him, at least from what he's been able to cultivate in terms of recruiting. So there's a lot of potential for us to really pop on the scene if we allow ourselves to not feel like we need something outside of what we have. Because right now the talent portal is nothing but a bunch of talented guys that are quasi good but need a chance to be in a place to win. We're beyond that. We done gave guys chances to win and have the luxury gold road. They just haven't been able to step over the hump because they are just projects. We need a bona fide to look within. They always say, how do you elevate in life and get better? We have to look within. It's never something on the outside.
Scott, you said, Sean, you the bomb dude. Can we please stop repeating how he seemed like a dude you can suck at your job and be a saint? No, Scott, the reason I say that is because I think people have a tendency to put the two together, right? And I think that's why, according to the chat, it's this thing out there, being talked about as far as like, the narrative being out there. Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out what the narrative is, because I've yet to see anything reported that is a fabrication. I haven't seen anything that's a fabrication. Now, maybe people, Tyler, you are a fool, man. I see you. I see what you said. You're a fool. You're kind of accurate though, but you're a fool for that comment. Yeah, man. You have to clarify. We've had enough experience in this game now where, our comments getting taken out. Dude, we had a guy hit us up in leftovers after a show last week telling us we need to check ourselves because we are being disrespectful to Audric Estime and Sam Hart. And I said, what are you talking about? Like, you guys felt like we're giving reasons why he should have been left off. Well, he was left off the list. I said, yeah, we were trying to think like the Dope Walker people. Like, we didn't say that's how we felt. We said this is what they might have been thinking. And then on top of that,
I mean, first of all,
Sam Hartman,
off,
like,
not because we left him off.
Look,
you know what I mean?
as Notre Dame fans, I'm sorry. Notre Dame fans should feel disrespected about what you got out of the quarterback position this year.
Yeah.
There's no way we could disrespect him. Notre Dame, the fan base should feel disrespected.
That's right.
That's why I was like, all this talk about he was good. We didn't bring him here to be good.
No,
Jack
we
Cohn
gave
was
him for 3
good.
games.
Ian Book was good. That was not the buzz. That was not the feeling by the fan base when he committed to Notre Dame. So that's my keep the same energy. Like, don't back up now like, oh, he's good. No, that's not why he was brought here. And he wasn't good in the big games, which was the
Right.
main reason he was brought here.
Because guess what, everybody? We have good quarterbacks. We judge Steve very harshly, obviously, because we're basing it off of big wins, which are hard to do for any quarterback. But Steve Angeli is very capable to be good at Notre Dame. If you have the chance to make it in Notre Dame, because of what we always stay have a constant of, you'll have a chance of being good. Ian was good. The problem is that when you are just good, that's not good enough at Notre Dame, and you will be exposed. You will be exposed. Because guess what? Even a season like this, we're looking at it like, man, we had a bad season. But guess what? Sam Hartman ain't used to winning and having a bad season at 9 wins, 8-win bad season. He ain't used to that. So he's probably thinking, I did my damn thing. I did my damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Our expectations are probably different than his expectations. We had him on 3-game basis. He could have said, I just want to get some good film at a good place, play good enough, get my nice retirement fund next year. So I'm tired of giving guys early retirement funds,
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Weiss type contracts for minimum service. We don't need a minimum service from a Riley Leonard because all we're doing is helping him. Until we have a situation where the guy is helping us, where we're like, oh shoot, we done stole one, we done got one for real. Gonna take it to the next level. Until we get that, we're just helping people because we're a consistently good program. And most times, we getting people from programs that aren't consistently good. So until we find a guy that's bona fide and recognized, like a Jaden Daniels, who's been producing at a high rate for BK. Now you got 2 first-round receivers now. You got some, you got some stuff down there. But I'm just saying, that's a good transfer. Why? Because Jaden Daniels was a 3-year winner. He was winning games, playing good transfer. So I just believe for us, the Aldrich Estimate thing is interesting. Because it's like, you know what you're looking at. Even the Stanford game, you was like, damn, we won. Oh, Aldrich got 200? What was the moment in that game? Aldrich's a good running back, gonna be in the league. My comparison is Tony Jones. Tony Jones has had the most successful running back career of the last 5 or 6 running backs we've had go to the draft or go to the NFL. Consistent. He's a consistent starter. That'll go a long way. But if you're talking about winning awards isn't always about being the most consistent. Sometimes winning an award, you're hot that year. That's why the Heisman got a different winner every year. You got moments that stood out amongst everybody else. Michael Penny's got moments.
Yeah.
That's a guy you like, okay, you don't have to question. You only question Aldrich because you like, well, damn, let me go check the stats. That's what makes you believe it. But if you didn't check no stats and you just hear Aldrich, you're not thinking, oh, that's automatic dope. You be like, wait, I like him a lot. Let me see what he got. Oh, yeah, of course, he's no brainer. The numbers say it right here. He's the man. So I love Aldridge. I think he's a perfect opportunity for him to graduate. I think the running backs we got, it would be a change of speed in a good way, but it'd also be more dynamic. I think because Aldridge is the type of back he is, it slowed down momentum from the passing game. 2 yards here, 3 yards here, you bust down for 7. Then you throw a little short pass, then you go back to heavy set, run with. That's just a naturally slow way of doing things on offense. And as a receiver, you just looking there, and then you looking at your one-on-one matchup, and you just know we just run it on the inside because it's 3 tight ends at one time, it's 2 tight ends, it's a fullback, tight end taking a quarterback snap. You getting sick of it. And now you telling me to run a perfect route and catch the ball or he gonna look deep. So if that's the case, we need to start getting receivers like Wisconsin did with Nick Toon and Jared Abadaris. Just big, lanky, tall dudes, team players, 3-star guys that we end up being something bigger because they taking advantage of one-on-ones. Get 3-star receivers for now on. Because it's always the 3 stars that we don't expect, a Jordan Faison, that we end up playing anyway. Hell, Chris Fink went from a walk-on to a captain damn near. So I think the strategy, if you're going for an offense like this year, we should have had a bunch of 3 stars. Because then the expectation wouldn't be, where's the production from guys we're doing all this, wasting all this time trying to build in the draft room and not find a way to unlock their potential. Maybe we not 5-star ready. Maybe we got to take some 3-star guys that work hard like a Jordan Faison, because that seemed to work as a receiver on our offense, because we don't know how to take care of them stallions. You know what I'm saying? We got this baby stable, but we ain't got the room for them stallions where we just got the room for them to roam around. Our little park too little. You know, them stallions in them open range. We got a fence. We can only go so far before we start reining them back. You know, we got like a yard. We ain't got no field. We need a field for these stallions. So until we able to provide that, of course Tobias should leave. Because we probably not going to get nobody no yards like that next year either. Based on the Jared Parker strategy of things, you know, we're going to be very, you know, similar, yet hopefully we do a little bit more, but it's not going to come from the outside. Let's tell you that. He's a tight ends guy. So if anything, it's going to be more slots, more running, more tight end. So Tobias, in a lot of cases, didn't make the right fit. That's how he has to look at himself in the mirror and be like, I should have known. Look at EQ. Look at Miles Boykins. Look at Chase Claypool. Look at all them guys. You didn't hear about them until they got to the league. Is that the fate I want, to get under 65 receptions a year? To have to show out on pro day and run a ridiculous speed because ain't nobody ever seen me run this fast because I've always been, the ball always been thrown behind me, or I never got the chance on a solid level. Like, just think of how dynamic the offense was with Will Fuller, just one player. At that point in time of the Notre Dame era, we was a deep threat team. I would just imagine, what would you be saying, Sean, if you had the Lucky Lefty podcast when it was 14, 15, 16, when we actually had the talent on the outside, when we was bombing teams, 1-play touchdowns when we needed it, and we could run the ball. Will Fuller changed that. Just one player. So until we find that speed on the outside where we're trusting it to call it in the game and go to it as much as we can, you know, you're just losing that dynamic part of what you need to have on the team in order to win big games. And that's what it's about, winning big games. We can win some games doing what we're doing. Winning big games, we need that dynamic down the field outside threat.
Lucky Lefty podcast. Thank you guys. Man, all of a sudden I got 3 texts. I had to respond to them. And yo, it's a lot to be excited about. I do think Notre Dame is going to get 2 to 3 guys. I don't know if they can really get the same amount of numbers they got in the portal last year because they have to cut. I do think there will be more transfers over the next couple of days. We've seen a lot on the offense side of the ball. I still think there are some to come on the defensive side of the ball. You know, nothing that I don't think there will be anything that's earth shattering, you know, but you know, unless those numbers via transfers come down a little bit more, I think maybe 3, 4 transfers come in via the portal. And then National Signing Day, you know.
Yeah, a lot of signing periods. I wonder how Marcus Freeman's strategy on his recruiting takes place. Is he going to do as much flying around and all this stuff that he did last year? I think it probably should be more a concerted effort on specific things that we need to fix.
All right, let's see. Is there anything else we need to cover? We covered the transfers, why they left. Hopefully they land in some really good situations. That left, because I can see Tobias. See, this is the crazy thing. I can definitely see some Tobias going to Washington.
100%.
Close to home, Jamarcus Shepard, who should have been his wide receiver coach from the jump. Chris Tyree, I was thinking maybe somewhere close to the VA, where he's from.
I can see it.
Maybe Penn State. Because Drew Aller will have 1 season under his belt. Maybe Penn State for him. Or I can see Chris Tyree with Mike Locksley at Maryland. I can see that because Mike Locksley is a really good offensive coach. Schools like that. Maybe he would talk to Florida State because they are losing 2 big-time receivers. And Rodemaker,
Yeah.
you know, isn't Travis Scott, but he's okay. And Zeke Correll, I think Zeke Correll ends up going somewhere. Dude, Zeke Correll is going to be a really good pickup for somebody.
Who do you think has got the best chance of going somewhere successfully?
Tobias.
Yeah.
Because I think people recognize Tobias. Tobias has the most upside.
Yeah, he does.
He has the most upside.
He definitely does.
He has the most upside. But I think Zeke Correll is going to be a great find. I think he's going to a good program too.
Where is he end up going?
I think wherever Zeke Correll goes, I think it's going to be a top 25 program, and that's going to be a solid veteran for somebody's offensive line.
Yeah, he's going to be well advanced and naturally a good transfer due to just his expectation of where he was at. It's like he's not a bad player now.
Yeah.
But for what Notre Dame is just so consistent around the board, his consistency just isn't like everybody else's at Notre Dame. But compared to another school, oh man, you know.
Yeah, I agree. Yo. Yeah, man, that's it.
Yeah.
So we like I said, I was going to give out as much information as I could and with the permission I had. We are here not to spew narratives, but to give you, you know, as much as we can of the truth and facts. You know, unfortunately, we gave breadcrumbs that were leading up to this throughout the summer and into the fall. And even with the things that have taken place. Two crucial hires await Marcus Freeman. Very important. Two crucial hires.
Instant.
And as we said, hire guys that have your best interests at heart and make the decision. Make sure the decision is yours. Like, seek advice, but make sure the decision is yours. That's it, man. That's it. That's it. Anybody else out there, whoever, I don't know who it was, whoever is talking about narratives, honestly, there is no narrative concerning the Chansi Stuckey situation. He did not commit a crime. He did not physically abuse a kid. He did not abuse anyone. He did not get the job done, and he handled certain situations incorrectly. That's that. That's that. Some people could interpret certain things because they're close to the situation on the player side. So certain people on that side could possibly interpret it as mental. I don't like using the word abuse, but messing with the mental stability of young men. But and seemed to play favoritisms, and failed to be able to get players to buy into his coaching or receive what he was trying to say. That's it. That's enough. That's enough for him to go. That's it. So it's really nothing to protect. I haven't seen anyone within the Notre Dame media report anything that it has not been substantiated. They have to hire a strength and conditioning coach. Man, come on, ND fans. Like, y'all should know. You should know that Notre Dame needs a strength and conditioning coach. Matt Bailiff has been going for a while now. Come on, I tell people all the time, like, yo, Notre Dame fans are the most knowledgeable fans. That's why I said that. Like, come on, we gotta know. We gotta know. That might be more important. Strength and conditioning might be more important than wide receiver, honestly.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Left? I'm sorry. Before we get ready to go.
The Fran Brown hire at Syracuse. What'd you think of it?
Yo, that's a very good hire. Very sneaky good hire.
Yeah.
Very sneaky good hire. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm assuming he's staying through the SEC championship and the playoffs.
Yeah, he should, I think. Yeah, he's trying to miss out on that ring.
He already has 2.
He said, I need 3, and I'm cool.
Right.
I'll start over.
Him walking up in that press conference with the 3 rings, like,
this is what I do. This is what I do.
I think he definitely expands the recruiting range immediately for them. Before we get out of here, Left, check out Matt Rule talking today.
That a good quarterback in the portal costs $1 million to $1.5 million to $2 million right now. So just on the same page, right? So let's make sure we all understand what's happening. So there's some teams that have $6 or $7 million players playing for them. So
is that frustrating? The way where we're at now with the dollars involved.
It is what it is. Yeah, it's no. I would not let people be able to buy people off another roster. It's real simple. Like, you think about, you recruit somebody and you develop them for 2 years, and then someone comes in and takes them, and then that coach gets fired. It's like, well, he actually did a pretty good job. So.
No. You had it, and then you lost.
That sounds like a coach that's realized man, these Nebraska dudes ain't gonna give me no money. Yeah.
Now they'll show up. They'll show up to the game. They'll show up strong every game. They gonna be like money.
They reeled me in. Like, yeah, we're gonna support you. We're gonna support you 100%.
Yeah. They like,
nah.
yeah, you got Dion calling about needing some money. It's getting real serious out here.
Hey, man.
Money better start coming from somewhere. But then it goes back to it's supply and demand. Supply and demand. You only gonna have a couple teams if that's the case. So we'll start seeing more dynasties happen like Georgia. Georgia can go do this for who knows how long. As long as that money going in, ain't no scandals popping off yet. They on the roll. At this point, they don't. All they have to do is just be like, look at what we did. Look at what we do.
Like, bro, if that's the going rate, that's the going rate.
That's the going rate.
Like, what's the complaint?
And other thing, other companies, you work down there in Chicago, good old Chicago. What they say, the Big Five. After your 2 years, what happened? Other teams start poaching. Other companies start poaching. This is tech. This is finance.
Boy. Yes, sir.
You gonna get poached. If Microsoft, you work at Microsoft, guess who's gonna hit you up eventually? Google.
Yeah.
And what you gonna say no? You gonna say no to Google? They don't give a damn. They'll call you right. Hey, I like what you're doing over there. Come take this money over here. It happens in every sector.
We got this check.
When this money come around, it's fair game. Everybody in the game.
Yeah.
And if anything, if you was a good recruiter, you negotiate. Hey, recruit better. You lower the price. If you recruit good, you lower the price. How about that?
I don't even know if it's that simple, bro. That's recruit better. I mean, Matt Rule, my brother. Hey man, at least you got a big time tight end coming into your recruiting class. You know what? And plus, he has a little bit of buyer's remorse from the quarterback transfer portal last year, bro.
Yeah,
that's something else as well. He thought he was getting something in the portal, and ended up being spoiled real bad.
And that hurts. And I think that we're gonna hurt if we take this experience in the transfer portal again with a quarterback. We're gonna hurt. I don't think we should get it started. Get a dude that's a camp arm. Get a camp arm. Bless a dude with a scholarship that's not impacting the season. How about that? Make our team better, but not impacting the season at that position. Put out what we got. Let Gino see if he's worth his money. If we cutting coaches like that, I want it to be continuous. If we doing stuff like that, let's go ahead and keep it going.
Hey, Left. So we're gonna close out with this. Mike Elko's the new coach of Texas A&M. Notre Dame starts the season off next year down in College Station, and we said, even with Elko taking a job, we feel a little bit better about that game. And if you don't believe us, ABC's Mike Leslie, who's a Texas A&M alum, he breaks it down for us. He tells the truth about Texas A&M, his own Aggies. Left, check this out.
And this is my extra point. Mike Elko is the new head coach at Texas A&M, introduced Monday in College Station. A man I actually covered when I was in college, and he was the defensive coordinator at my alma mater, Hofstra University. Now, a decade and a half later, is the man in charge at Kyle Field. I'm excited for Elko. I think he's genuinely a very good hire for A&M, and I think he's the type of grounded, substantive hire that A&M needed after years of more flash than anything else. But Elko, in his press conference on Monday, said something that just doesn't compute for me. He talked about how A&M is going to fulfill their potential as the premier football program in the country. And he said that the best version of Texas A&M wins national championships. And I just want to ask, based on what? Texas A&M, their fans, their boosters, Aggies believe their program should be among the elite in college football. Why? They won 11 games in 2012. Johnny Manziel won the Heisman. It was a banner year for the program. Prior to that, you have to go back to 1998 to find another double-digit win season. Texas A&M has 2 double-digit win seasons since I was 8 years old. The Kansas Jayhawks have stumbled their way into just as many. I'm happy for Elko, and I hope for his sake he has success in College Station. I think he has a real chance. But the idea that A&M should be a premier program in the country, it takes more than money to build that. The Aggies are proof. Maybe Mike Elko is finally the missing link.
Yeah.
Don't listen to us.
Standing ovation.
He
That was
graduated.
good.
That's a graduate of Texas A&M telling you, hey, man.
I'm not excited.
No. They're not. No, we're not an elite program. Why? Hey, we feel like we should, because we got money.
Yes.
Because we got all this money.
When money you think is possible, you know, and just like Notre Dame, don't let them win. Don't let us win one time, because you're not gonna hit. He's not gonna hit the end of it. So it's like it's a team. It's a rich kid that got a bunch of money, don't know what to do with it. Can't look cool in the gym. They wear all the newest stuff. Can't get picked on the team.
Buy all the mics and don't know how to rock them.
Don't know how to. I mean, buying the J's, every color, which way, can't function, can't look good in them, can't match in them. It be like that. So Mike Elko, congratulations, man. Got a really good job. The bank is big. But we seen the bank get spit on and the team be average at that very same place.
Same spot.
So it ain't about spending money over there. We already done seen it crash and burn quick. Quick. So even the biggest bag.
Hey, they didn't win when Elko was there.
Yeah.
When he was the DC, they didn't win big. Hey, and by the way, Texas A&M, here comes Oklahoma and Texas. Don't forget that. Lucky Pop. Hey, Mike Leslie is my favorite, bro. I told you. When I saw that clip, I was like, oh, I got to play this. Oh, I have to play this. Like, this dude, this is friendly fire. This dude is shooting at his own program. Lucky Lefty podcast, man. Go Petty Train today. We'll be back. I think tomorrow, another show, because Love works in the morning. So we'll be on around 5:30 tomorrow and then back at 11 on Friday, man. Have a great evening. Make sure you spend it different.